Is Social Security taxable? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about when you get in retirement, is the money that you receive from Social Security, are you going to be able to get all of that, or some of it going to go to Uncle Sam? That's what we're going to talk about today. So in order for Social Security to not be taxable, it can happen if you do the right planning or if you have lower income. So when people think you have a lower income, they may think that you're poor, right? Well, not necessarily. So there's two ways to get Social Security tax-free. One is you can certainly be poor, because if you have no income, your Social Security will be tax-free. Or you can be smart. And if you're smart, that would mean that you lower your income in the future to stay under the limit so that your Social Security is tax-free. And that's what I call being smart. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, of how can we get you to that 0% Social Security tax bracket. And so when you look at Social Security, it's based on your provisional income. Your provisional income is a list of all these things added up. When you add up all those items there, you take it to this next chart that we're showing. On this next chart, if your provisional income is under that $32,000 number, then you pay no tax on your Social Security. If your income is higher than that, then you're going to have to pay a higher amount in Social Security and tax on your Social Security. You'll see that 85% number there. Don't let that scare you. It should scare you, but not that dramatically. It's not an 85% rate. It simply means that 85% of your Social Security benefit will be taxable at your ordinary income rates, which are 10, 12, 22, 24%. So if you have $10,000, 85% of that would be $8,500 would count as income. At 12%, you're paying $1,000 some dollars in taxes in that scenario. So that's how that scale works. Also understand that this scale is marginal. If you're in that $33,000 mark, you're not paying 50% on all of that. 50% of your benefit doesn't count as taxable. Only that $1,000 above, 50% of that $1,000 would be taxable. Now, when you get to the 85% limit though, your full benefit could be taxable at 85%. So that's where you want to, if your income is ongoing in that limit there, you're going to hit what we call the tax torpedo. And that's what this chart shows here, is that tax torpedo and how Social Security tax plays a part and together with your current income. And so you can see here on this chart that most people in retirement are not going to be in a lower tax bracket. You've probably been told that in some point in your lifetime, is that you'll have a lower income in retirement, you'll pay less taxes in retirement, just keep deferring your taxes. The majority of our clients, that's not the case. They're actually paying more taxes in retirement because of their large tax deferred investments, and because they're forcing with those RMDs, those required minimum distributions from those tax deferred investments, they're pushing their Social Security to become fully taxable. Whereas if they did good planning and were smart, they could have been on the other side of this chart and been in the 0% tax bracket. And that's where they could have gotten their Social Security that they've worked hard for in their pocket versus Uncle Sam. So that's how the idea of how Social Security tax works there. If you look at this chart, you'll see that these numbers have not changed since 1985. And this is simply what we call as a stealth tax. A stealth tax is something that they don't change, and inflation causes it to worsen for the taxpayer. And so the fact that they have not adjusted these numbers for inflation over time forces you to have to be in a higher number on this chart to force your Social Security to be more taxable. So you've got to be aware of stealth taxes, and that's another reason why we're big components of the Roth IRA and other planning strategies to pay the tax now versus later, when you could be forced to pay it at a higher rate. Now, when it comes to claiming Social Security, there's no perfect age to pick when to take Social Security. I've told some clients to take it at 62. I've told some clients to take it at 70. It really depends on your specific situation. But I can tell you the exact time to take it if you just answer one question for me. Tell me when you're going to die and I'll tell you when to take it. That's the only time we truly know when is the most optimal time to take Social Security. Although there's ways to find and guess what is going to be the best educated guess here for you to take it. And there's a lot of factors that are involved there. One can be your health. Are you expected to live a long time or a short time? What about your spouse, the survivor benefit? What about the spousal benefit, where your spouse can get half of your benefit while they're living? And then there's other considerations as well. The factor we're going to consider now is when it comes to taxes. Okay, so this is not a recommendation of when to take Social Security. It's simply an understanding of how Social Security can impact your income plan now and in the future, depending on when you take it. So if you look at this chart here, we're going to show you 3 scenarios of taking out $100,000 from your investments and from Social Security. The only difference between these 3 charts is when we choose to start Social Security and which investment we take out from. Are we going to take out from our IRA, or are we going to take out from our Roth IRA? And so if we look at this first pie chart here, we took Social Security at 62, which means we got a reduced benefit. And if we needed that $100,000 to live on, we now had to take $70,000 out from our IRA. Because we did that, we're now forcing Social Security to hit that tax torpedo and be fully taxable, and we're now forcing ourselves to be in a higher bracket within our brackets there, and that's why we're seeing a higher tax on that first scenario. Now, if we look at the second scenario, you're going to see in this scenario that we are going to delay Social Security until 70. If we delay Social Security until 70, we're going to get an increased benefit at that point. If that benefit equals about $70,000, well, that means we only have to take out $30,000 from an IRA. If that's the case, we're now going to force our Social Security to be less taxable, and we're going to also allow ourselves to be in a lower bracket, which is allowing us to lower our taxes by over half. And so just understanding how the things play together, how the different investments play a part, can help you decide on where you take out your money in retirement. And then the third scenario we're showing here is just having a little bit of Roth integration here. We're not telling you to put all your money into Roth. We're telling you to have not all your eggs in one basket, to have what we call tax diversification, so that you can get to this third option here where you have the flexibility to choose what you want to fill up the retiree's tax map that we just showed you. Because in this scenario, we're now able to keep that provisional income under $32,000, and we're also able to keep them under or close to that standard deduction so that they can live a nearly tax-free environment. And so my main point here is you've got to be very, very careful about when you turn on Social Security, but you also got to be very careful about your income planning and retirement. Social Security will cover 40% of your paycheck for the average person. You've got to come up with the rest, and you've got to decide the timing of where you're going to take out that money. So hopefully that helps you on Social Security, and we'd certainly be glad to give you more guidance if you have specific questions.